Okay, so for this first super cute DIY, we are going to be using this little Dollar Tree vase, as well as 2 of the little Christmas trees that I had put together. This one is from my Valentine's Day hot cocoa bar. I will have it linked above. I'm also going to be using some foam eggs, as well as this decorative mesh with the little white balls on it. And then I'm also going to be using some of the pastel colored tissue paper, as well as the LED lights from the Dollar Tree. I have the ones with the little chickens on them, and then ones with the little eggs on them. So first, I'm just going to be taking this Christmas tree. This was originally a white Christmas tree that I had on in my Candyland themed Christmas this past Christmas. And then at Valentine's Day, I just took it outside and spray painted it ballet pink and decorated for Valentine's Day. And since it's already pink, a pretty pastel color, I just decided to go ahead and use it. So I'm just going to start by taking some of this tissue paper, and I am laying them kind of catty corner across each other. And I'm just going to be using the purple and the yellow, and I'm just going to wrap that around the styrofoam that I have the Christmas trees pushed down into, and then I'm going to take that and push it down inside that vase. Now, the purpose of the tissue paper here is just to cover up that floral foam, because the vase is clear and I wanted to leave it clear, so I didn't want to paint it or anything. So I just decided I would cover it up with the floral foam, with the tissue paper, instead of having that floral foam exposed. Now I'm going to go in with the little Easter lights that I have, and I'm going to string them on this little tree. And I have the 2 sets, and once I put one set on, I'm just going to go back in with the other set and try to go in on the tree where there's no lights at. Okay, I did decide to just use the green deco mesh instead of the green and the purple, because I actually had the purple in the tissue paper, so I decided that I didn't want to use the purple deco mesh as well. So now that I have all of my lights on, I'm just going to attach this deco mesh to the top of the tree just by twisting the branches over on itself, and then I'm just going to pull out a small little puff of deco mesh and go down a little bit and do 2 or 3 of these on all 4 sides of the Christmas tree. And then once I get done with the deco mesh, I will go in and start adding some of these little egg ornaments. Okay, so now we're going to go in with these little foam eggs. They do have a little piece of ribbon on the end of them to kind of hold them in place, but that doesn't really work that well. So I was trying to choose some of the little ornaments that had the bigger pieces of ribbon on them to put on my branches, and you guys will see later on in this video that I'm going to actually use some of those little eggs to do my topiary, and those little strings just pull right out, so they're very easy to pull out, so you don't have to use them just for ornaments, and they don't really even leave a big hole on the bottom. But I am just going in with several different variety of the little eggs. I think I go in with 2 or 3 different packs. they have some solid ones, and then they have these that have the little glitter on them. And I also have some little striped and polka dot ones as well. Okay, so now these are some little foam shapes that Dollar Tree is putting out this year. This is a 12 pack, and it has the pink, the yellow, and the blue in them. And I'm just going to set these inside the tree where I see that some of the little limbs aren't really filled out. These are just two of the little, I call them the little Charlie Brown trees because they are very thin, from the Dollar Tree. So this has two put together, but you guys can see that it's still not very full. And I absolutely love this yellow. It looks exactly the same color as one of the little peeps that they normally put out around Easter time, although I do not like the peeps. This is a super cute little chick, and the little color is almost exactly the same as the color of those. So I thought that was super cute. Okay, so now we are moving on to our ribbon, and I'm going to be using this purple ribbon as well as this white ribbon that has some little eggs, and it has like little bunny butts on it. It has like the little back end of a bunny with some little feet and his little pom-pom tail. So I'm just going to start by putting the purple on the bottom, and then I'm going to be putting the colored one on the top. And I am just kind of measuring the tree because I do want the tails to kind of go pretty much all the way down the front of the tree. I do curl them at the end so that they do kind of go up some from what I had originally planned, but you guys can kind of see and get the idea of what I'm talking about. And then I'm just going to make a 5-inch ribbon with my Easy Bow Maker, and then I'm just going to go back in and do about a 3-inch ribbon, so that this is not a very big bow, but the tree is not very big, so I didn't want to make it like really big. So I decided to kind of make a smaller ribbon here with some longer tails. Just going to tie that off using a Chanel stem, and I'm going to fluff this ribbon out really good, and I'm also going to dovetail the ends. And then once I get this fluffed out really good, I am going to use a smaller ribbon and just make a shoestring ribbon just to put right in the middle of this. I do end up hot gluing that there. I ultimately wanted to put it on the front of this so that it could kind of cover up the Chanel stem, because the Chanel stem is gold and everything else on the tree is pastel colored. So I didn't really want that that big bright Chanel stem to be showing. So I did want to go back in with some smaller bow and put it over the top of it, if that makes sense. So I'm just going to make a shoestring bow, and I did decide that I wanted a longer tail here, so I kind of go back and do it. And the way you do this is you just go around your fingers, just tie it around your fingers, just like if you're tying a shoelace. And then once I get it all lined up and cut, I do not dovetail the ends. I just put a point on them, and then I hot glue it right to the center of my original bow. And then I find the front of my tree. And how I found the front of my tree is because I put the the little battery packs for the lights actually into the back of the Christmas tree, and then so wherever those were, I just made the opposite of that, the front of this tree, and I tied this ribbon on, fluffed it really good, and curled the ribbon, and this is what it looks like. I think it turned out really adorable. I'm obsessed with the little lights on here. I am so happy that I was able to find these two different little sets of lights, and I think I do like these as much, if not more, than I like the ones that Dollar Tree was putting out for Valentine's Day. Okay, so for our next Dollar Tree DIY, I'm going to be using these white vases. These are from my winter floral and garland video. I will link it above in the right. And plenty of these little different color flowers that Dollar Tree is putting out right now. I will show you guys each one that I'm using. I don't know how to pronounce them all, but I will show you what they are. This vase that I'm using is one of their 9-inch hurricane glasses with a margarita glass on the bottom of it, and it's just turned upside down. I did put some E6000 on that, and then I spray painted them white with chalk paint. So that is kind of what I'm using here. So this is some different of the pink. I'm just going to start out by putting my taller ones in the back, and then I'm just going to go shorter all the way to the front. So I put those big purple and blue ones in the back, and then I'm going to put these pink ones in because they are a little bit taller, and then I will go in with some of the other beautiful florals that I got. Dollar Tree has so many pretty flowers out this year that I'm just like, every time I go in there, I'm buying like a ton of flowers, and I keep telling myself you don't need any more flowers, but every time I go I always end up picking up some more. But I think the ones that I picked out and put together for these vases in particular turned out really beautiful. I do have them on the same little glass shelf that I had my winter florals and my Christmas florals on, so that's where they're pretty much going to be at. I am going to give you guys another video next week of some spring garland that I'm going to decorate, and I will also have that on that shelf, so you guys will get to see that all together. But once I got these done and completed, I was really in love with them, and I did actually do two. I just did one on camera for you guys, and the other one I just went ahead and did off camera because they're pretty much exactly the same. And now you guys can see that I'm going back into the back of this with some hyacinths because they are a little bit longer. Their flowers do stick up a little bit longer, so I wanted to go kind of in the back with those, and I'm just going to continue adding florals in here, and I will show you guys the names of each one that I am putting in. So if you guys want to try to replicate this or duplicate this, you know exactly which flowers I'm using. Now I'm just going to go into the back of this vase and add in some of Dollar Tree's onion grass. And now these are dripping blossoms. That's all they have this labeled as. So it does actually hang down. And then this pink, and I have another white, is going to be the wisteria. It does drape over the front of the vase. So I just go in with a little bit of that. And I end up with some pinks, some whites, and some yellows that are kind of draping over the front of this vase. I think they turn out really pretty. You guys let me know in the comments down below what you think about these little vases and if they look like they're more spring or Easter colors for you guys. I know sometimes spring and Easter can kind of correlate with each other, but I'm just wondering what you guys think about these vases and the colors and stuff in them. Okay, so this is my completed flower arrangement that I have here, and I have two of these that are very similar. They are almost identical, that sit on either side of this mirror that you guys can see here in the back. You guys let me know what y'all think about these. And for our last Dollar Tree DIY, I'm going to be using this little vase. Some flowers came in this that my husband got for me, and then I'm going to be using this party hat as well as some moss and several packages of the little plastic Easter eggs that Dollar Tree has. And all I'm doing here is I just took all the embellishments off of this party hat and I made it a little bit smaller so it would fit down inside the little vase, and then I'm just going to hot glue these eggs onto the sides of this hat, and I'm just going to start out with my bigger eggs, and then I'm going to move on to some medium ones and then some smaller ones at the very top. I am going to cut this off and put a bigger egg, so the very top is going to be one of the big eggs, but I do use 3 packs of the larger eggs, and then I do use 1 pack of the medium eggs, and then I'll just move on to some random smaller ones that I had laying around. Some were left over from the little Easter tree that I did at the beginning of this video, and then some other ones were just ones that I had that came on picks and stuff. So I'll show you guys later on in the video exactly what I'm using in case you want to try to make this little egg topiary yourself. Okay, so now I have added the 2 packs of the larger eggs, and I did a pack of the medium plastic eggs, and now I'm using the little foam egg picks. I'm just pulling the little kebabs out of them and just hot gluing them on, and you guys can see that I'm just putting a little bit of hot glue on the back and maybe dabbing a little bit on either side. Now I'm going to go in with some smaller eggs. These ones are a little bit smaller than the ones I was just using, and it's okay if when you're pulling these out some of that foam shows, because we are going to go back in with the moss and cover in any blank spaces around the hat and around the eggs anyway, so it's okay if that shows a little bit, because you will be able to kind of cover it up. And then after I put all of these size eggs on, I'm actually going to go ahead and go back in with some of the really small eggs that are from the Easter tree that I made in the beginning of this video. I did pick up maybe 5 packs of those eggs, and I only used a few out of each of them because I wanted to make sure that I was mixing them up really good. So now I'm just going to pull out the little strings that are on them to make them into ornaments, and you guys can see they just pull out really easily. They're just stuck down in there, and then I'm just going to hot glue those in on this hat until I get everything covered up. I am trying to make sure that I'm not using the same colored eggs and the same designed egg in the same spot. I'm trying to make sure that I spread them out really good. Once I have all the little eggs on there, I am going to go back in with some of this moss. My original thought was to try and put the hot glue on the hat and stick the moss to it, and that didn't work really good. So then after a little bit of trial and error on that, I decided that I'm actually going to put the hot glue on the eggs, because if the moss sticks to the eggs, then it will ultimately cover up those little holes. And some of the holes that were tighter anyways, I didn't even have to put any hot glue. I just stuck the moss down inside of there. And I did pick up 2 bags of the moss because I felt like it may take me 2 bags, but then apparently this moss is like shrink wrapped or something, because once I started working with it, it just seemed to grow and grow and grow. And I put a lot of moss in this. You guys will see at the end of this video that I did put a lot of moss on this topiary, and I really didn't use but like half a bag of this moss. So you guys don't need as much of this as you might think you do. So I'm just going in and around pretty much every egg that's on here. I don't want to leave any bare spots on here. And then after I decided that I had all the bare spots from the little hat covered up, I didn't want to leave any of it in between the eggs uncovered either. So I did decide to go kind of in between and around every little egg. And like I said, sometimes I didn't have to put hot glue, and sometimes I did. So you guys will have to kind of play this by ear. The moss does get on your eggs, but after I got all the moss put on there, I just kind of blew that off and it went away with no problem. This is my completed little topiary, and it is gorgeous. I think it looks really high-end on a budget. Thank you guys so much for watching. This video will be linked in my Spring Has Sprung playlist. You guys go and check that out. Don't forget to like and subscribe.